I was wondering, our powers combined, the three of us,
Sure.
what would our Megazord look like? What would it be?
I mean, it'd be blue because that's
Yeah,
Okay.
that's casual hour color. Like that's important.
only blue.
I mean, our colors are blue, white, and gray, black,
Yeah,
granite, whatever you want to call it.
yeah.
Who would? Okay, so if we're the three colors, which person would be each color, and also like which person would be each?
I would like to be blue.
Okay, you can be blue. Bobby, you have a preference?
None.
Okay.
I have a great
Blue.
beard. I'll go with
Is this
that.
Okay.
is this
Then,
going to look like an animal of some kind?
Yeah. Well, what do you think? I feel like if we're talking like classic Megazord, we should just be like, dude.
Okay. So 3 animal mechs combine into a dude mech.
But
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
traditionally, there's more making a Megazord. We would be a little funky looking, but
We
that's-
prefer 5.
We'd be a
5
mini Zord.
5
We'd
is
be
the
yeah.
optimal Zord number. Here's the important question though. For 3 pieces, what are you controlling?
Oh, I'm taking. Well, if we're breaking it by 3, I would say one of us controls both arms, one of us controls both legs, and one of us is torso and head.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
I'm not the most observant person, so I probably shouldn't be controlling the torso or head. Maybe the arms. I'll be the arms.
Okay, Johnny's the
I-
arms.
I can
All right,
swing a hammer or
you
a
know,
sword.
I'm not smart
I'll
enough
let
to.
Bobby. I'll let
I'm not
Bobby
smart
take
enough
the
either.
torso.
I don't want that responsibility.
No. I don't. I haven't seen you play QWOP, but I'm pretty sure I should take the legs.
All right, so Johnny's the arms. I'm the head and torso.
I feel like this is going to be more like probably not even a head. Like this is going to be like a big round torso.
Here's the thing: like,
two arms and 2 legs.
the arms can only move together, like up and down, and the legs they don't have any knees. They're just like back and forth, and then the torso and the head.
God,
This is a shitty robot.
Yeah,
Well, obviously, what
this
did you
mech's just got a lot worse.
This is
Yeah, we would not be very good.
No, we probably would not be very good. Someday, Bobby, I'll have you tell me what Space Runaway Idion is on one of the Monday shows, and then you can tell me about mechs that are made of 3 parts.
Well, yeah, and I think that sounds fine and well. And before we get to that day, we should probably tell you a little bit about who we are. We're the Casual Hour. I'm Bobby. I host this show. If you're watching, beneath me is Chase. Over there in the corner is Johnny. And how are you two doing tonight?
I'm great.
I'm tired.
Eternally
I'm not tired. I got something in the mail yesterday that I've been waiting on.
Oh.
A brand new Steam Deck.
Hey,
It's real cool.
that's neat.
We have big deck energy now that all of
That's
us
right.
are.
This is a Steam Deck podcast from now on.
Here we are doing our thing.
Mine's over there. I can't. That's
Chase packed his up.
I didn't play it for
Right
very long,
there.
but I launched Elden Ring on this thing last night and just marveled at the fact that I was running
Better
Elden Ring
than
on a handheld.
I'm thrilled that you got it. I think that you chose poorly on where to start, but I'm happy you got one.
And then I played a bunch of Vampire Survivors, so
you just you're going for it, aren't you?
He still would not. Yeah, he's not into that. I'm into that. I think that's a great idea.
So let's cut into it a little bit. We got a big show tonight. We got a lot of things to talk through, a lot of video games. As Johnny is teasing here, we all got Steam Decks, which means that there's a lot of catching up to do on certain games for Chase. I have been playing a few new games tonight. So we're going to talk a little bit about some Steam Deck specific games like Aperture Desk Job. We're going to talk a little bit about maybe a game that should have won more awards on our show that is pretty hot off the press tonight called Into the Breach. We're going to talk about that new Forza Horizon DLC. We're going to talk about a game called Undergrave. We're going to talk about that really cool kitty cat and Stray. And then we got a lot of news to get into, from Skate to Warframe to Bungie and Wordle. Lots of stuff to talk about tonight. Let's get right to it. Chase, I want to know what your life has been like post Steam Deck and how are you feeling?
It's been fine. It's been pretty good. I've
Quit it. You
not
know it's
bad.
better. It's
No,
wonderful.
I've been having a great time. I played a lot of Fights in Tight Spaces. That game rules. It absolutely deserved as it earned our Game of the Year last year.
Yes.
I've played I played a few other things on it. I played through that Aperture Desk Job because that's the Valve game that sells.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't sell the hardware, but it kind of shows off what the thing can do. I got it a little bit confused though. I guess I did. Anybody really talk about Aperture Desk Job when it came out? I know none of us did, but
No.
I don't remember it getting any sort of play in the same way that something like what was the Vive one? Like not Half-Life Alyx, but the test software they had.
That's the only one that I recall from a
Yeah,
perspective.
I don't remember.
There was one where it's like it had the like the orbs with the eyes, and it had one that was like the space one from Portal 2, the one who was like gotta go to space, all that kind of stuff. But there was one where you were like launching those orbs at stuff. I don't know. They definitely made one. Okay. Anyway, I remembered that game, and I confused it with this one. So this whole time I was wondering, like, oh, where's the part where I start flinging these orbs at things? And that never came.
That didn't happen.
It didn't. But I think this is still a fun, enjoyable game.
How long was
it? Oh, it's real short. It's like
hour, 2 hours,
maybe 2 hours. I think it's
okay, and it's free.
Downloading it now. Yeah, it is
totally free. It's already in your library. If you have a Steam Deck, you just need to install it.
Cool.
And you play as a person who works at Aperture Science. It takes place at the same time as Portal 2, or in that around that time period. There's no GLaDOS, but there you do have one of those kind of orb things that's talking to you, kind of like Wheatley. It's a different voice guy, and he's just kind of teaching you how to be a tester at Aperture Science, and your desk looks like a Steam Deck. Like it has all of the controls on your desk equate to buttons and sticks on the Steam Deck.
Really cool.
And they all light up when you touch them, so you know, hey, you're doing the thing. You're hitting the buttons. You're doing that.
That's cool.
There's also a very inspirational welcome to work speech by one Cave Johnson, our good friend J.K. Simmons, and that's great. And then you realize that's. He's like, oh, that was supposed to be for like the new employees. You're actually like pretty close to being fired already. You need to.
Oh shit!
They undercut that stuff real well. Because the writing, it's still Portal 2 writing, and Portal 2 writing was quite good. So you start by inspecting toilets, which is great
naturally,
and then your robot supervisor buddy guy gets an idea that. You should make weaponized toilets by combining them with the turrets. So toilet turrets, and then you kind of make some mistakes, or mistakes are made around you, and eventually the whole idea is that you have to bring this idea up to Cave Johnson to get this approved. And
good old Cave.
So you spend some time going up an elevator and doing some shooting stuff, because now it turns into kind of a turret sequence where you can control the turret toilet, and you get up to Cave Johnson's office and you meet Cave Johnson.
Oh, you don't shoot him with a turret toilet?
I mean, you do.
Oh,
spoiler. I don't want to spoil it too much for you. I guess I'll spoil it a little bit. He's a big head. He's just one big metal head.
Huh.
because I guess he knew he was going to die, and they downloaded his brain into his consciousness.
That's fantastic.
A computer, but he's like, I don't want to be alive anymore.
Oh my
Please,
god.
please kill me. But he's a giant metal head, so you can't just shoot him dead. And that's a good time. It's a good time. It ends really well.
Nice.
There's some fun stuff there, and there's some good J.K. Simmons in there, which I always approve of.
It's
really,
a pro J.K. Simmons podcast.
It really is. I've been watching a lot of his stuff recently, and
nothing
watched
bad
all
about
Counterpart. I rewatched Whiplash for our movie podcast. There's a lot of J.K. Simmons going on, and I'm happy about it.
So
Aperture
Desk Job.
That's a fun little surprise.
Done.
Aperture Desk Job, I think, is a cool little thing. If you have one of these Steam Decks, you owe it to yourself just to spend a little time with that, understand how your Steam Deck works a little bit better, and have a good time, because that's really cool. I then went back to an old standard just to see, like, okay, I know how I had an idea of how Fights in Tight Spaces played, but now I got my hands on it. Yeah, it plays like that. Aperture Desk Job is a whole new thing. I wanted to play something that I'd played before on a different platform and see how it felt on a Steam Deck. So the game that seemed easiest for that for me was Vampire Survivors, which is a $3 game, and I'd only played the kind of free browser demo version that had been out there.
Yeah,
and I didn't realize how much more stuff was in the $3 game, and it's great. It's fucking great. I love this idea of like a twin stick shooter, like that's passively shooting or passively, in this case, whipping or meleeing. There's all sorts of different ways of weapons to get.
Throwing fireballs or...
Totally, but I like that idea of a game that is somewhat passive, and all I'm doing is moving the character. I think it just makes for a unique kind of setup, and the combinations of things that you can get, the way they build in the combos, the way you're getting all these power-ups. It's still just a really fun game, and in the full version, there are multiple stages that you can go to. There are more secrets to find. They have a... in the menu, it actually shows what the combos are, so you can be going for a specific build instead of having to just know it like you did with the browser version. And it just makes for a very enjoyable time. It's they're quick sessions. You can't have a session over half an hour, or not much over half an hour, because there's still a Grim Reaper who just kind of comes out and immediately kills you. If you get past the 30-minute mark. There are apparently ways to kill that Grim Reaper. I have just not gotten the right combo of abilities or strategy or things that you need. The closest I got is that it does kind of have a Castlevania. It has a lot of Castlevania style. We've talked about that when we talked about Vampire Survivors before, but it has these candelabras that you break, and then there are extra items in there. And one of those extra items stops time. So I was able to leave a couple of those out on the field. So when the Reaper came out, I immediately grabbed one. It froze time, and I just hit it with everything I could. And then time unfroze, and I immediately switched over and got the other one, and it froze time again. But even doing that twice was not enough. That thing has a lot of health, because then time started again, and he just came back and ripped me up. So
time keeps on slipping.
It does.
Damn.
It really does. It's a cool game. I'm going to keep playing it. I've unlocked a lot of new characters, a lot of new weapons. Looking forward to playing with some of those combos as well. I also downloaded 20 Minutes Till Dawn. I know that Bobby and I have done a quick look at that and talked about that. It's a little bit more active in that, where it's more of a true twin stick shooter, but a lot of that stuff is
coming
still
to mobile
very...
in a few weeks.
Oh, that's nice. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But it is very much like Vampire Survivors in the way it plays, other than Vampire Survivors has that kind of passive, the attacks go for you on set cooldowns, whereas in 20 Minutes Till Dawn, you're controlling when you shoot, where you shoot, all that stuff. And I think both are good. I'm just really enjoying Vampire Survivors right now. And
the quick look that goes up tomorrow is Necrosmith, and it's not it's more tower defense than what the like twin stick shooter, but I think you start to lump together Vampire Survivor, 20 Minutes Till Dawn, now Necrosmith. I would even say Loop Hero into this genre, and I really like Vampire Survivors is not like hitting for me like it does for you two. I really like 20 Minutes Till Dawn. I like Necrosmith a whole lot. I love Loop Hero.
I'd say Loop Hero though is closer to Vampire Survivors,
Yeah.
and that is also a game that kind of plays passively for you. You are not the one controlling the loop; it's looping for you. When you go into battles, it attacks for you on a set timer.
I don't like how Vampire Survivors looks. That's a big thing for me. I'm just not. I don't like the look of that game, especially compared to some of these other ones that are not the exact same thing. I mean, 20 Minutes Till Dawn is pretty damn close, but that aesthetically is way more pleasing to me than what Vampire is.
It just looks like an old Nintendo game.
I mean, it looks like a Castlevania game, except that it's top down instead of.
I got news for you. There's a lot of Nintendo games that look like dog shit.
Yeah,
that is also fair. I still enjoy it, but I guess I can understand that that's your problem and why you enjoy 20 Minutes Till Dawn better, because that does have a very distinct style to it that is striking and cool. All that doesn't matter, because what really matters here is that Into the Breach, after what is it, 3, 4, 5 years?
4 years
being out, 4 years, has gotten an update. Which
finally
is
some good fucking food.
I feel like it was only a couple weeks ago I said something like, "What's Subset Games been up to? What are they doing next?"
Oh, partying with Reed Hastings.
And then they're like, "Yeah, Reach, and also it's going to be on iPhones now and Androids through Netflix," which kind of sucks, but whatever.
I did test it out there.
Okay, I'm very interested. I'm sure it plays great. I just think it kind of sucks that it's in that point P hell of you have to have a.
If
a
I'm
Netflix
paying
experience.
for every one of my fucking family members to be on Netflix, I'm gonna enjoy some goddamn video games from Netflix.
Sure. That's for me.
Yeah, I'll tell you more about it later on.
So I only did one run of Into the Breach Advanced Edition, which is this new free update. If you have Into the Breach already, this is just free. It's on all of its platforms: Switch, Steam. I think it's on other consoles, right? Is it on Xbox and PlayStation?
Maybe. I don't recall.
I can check.
But the iOS version, that's also been updated. So you have basically anywhere you have Into the Breach, you now have the Advanced Edition. Johnny?
Yeah.
You have?
No, it's not.
Okay, so
Switch,
that's fine.
Switch Mobile, PC.
And PC.
It's on Stadia.
Oh, okay. Now we're talking.
A rare win for Stadia.
I imagine that Stadia also got the Advanced Edition. I mean, there's nothing very advanced about Stadia, but they might have at least got the Advanced Edition. Advanced Edition.
What is this? What is the Advanced Edition?
What is Stadia? Nobody knows. I'm sorry. I can't answer that. I am looking it up though. Into the Breach Advanced Edition. I want to know exactly.
It has new units, right?
It's got a new difficulty.
It has 5 new squads. It has a new difficulty. I want to pull it up just so I have the stuff. It's definitely new pilots. They had a Steam page that just had all of it listed out.
Yeah, new mechs and weapons, new challenges, new pilot abilities, unfair mode, which is a more challenging difficulty. And those are the 4 bullet points they have here.
Yeah, they had a specific post though that mentioned.
Well, this is on the Steam page for it.
I understand that.
Here we go.
I found the page. Major additions: 5 new squads and 15 new squad achievements. 7 new Vec. Vec are the bugs. 3 new Scions. Scions are like jellyfish-like enemies that give passive bonuses to enemies.
Assholes.
And 10, yeah, definitely. And 10 new boss battles, 12 new missions, and 3 new bonus mission goals, 4 new pilots, 10 new random pilot abilities, 39 new weapons and equipment, 2 new music tracks from composer Ben Prunty, which are very good.
Oh, yeah.
Prunty knows his shit. An even more challenging difficulty, unfair mode, and it's also in 7 new languages, which
Cool.
include Arabic, Thai, Swedish, Korean, traditional Chinese, Turkish, and Latin American Spanish. There are some other changes too. What I think is really cool is that all this is optional. You can toggle to turn on all of the advanced edition features, or just turn them off if you want to play the quote unquote classic Into the Breach, which I think is pretty cool. They also rebalanced the game a little bit. They made some stuff cheaper. They made some stuff more expensive in terms of the kind of roguelikiness of going through some of those stores.
You're gonna need 20
What?
coins, I think, total to unlock all the squads.
All the new squads, yeah.
Yep.
Definitely. I've unlocked 3 of those new squads, and I only played as one of them. I played as the Heat Sinkers, which also play with fire. So there's the Flame Behemoths. That was a traditional one of the original squads, and I loved playing as them. You set all the tiles on fire. Your mechs don't get hurt by fire. You can damage enemies over time. You can do a lot of fun things with fire. And this unit, this squad, does even more stuff with fire. They also don't get hurt by fire because any tile that they land on that has fire on it will take away the fire and instead give them a new status effect called Boost, which upgrades their damage by 1.
Fucking cool, because when I was playing through this, I ran into some Vec that had that.
Yep. There's
That's
a
fucking
Scion
awesome.
that gives boost to Vec, which really fucking sucks, I'll tell you that.
It does suck.
But I had a lot of fun with this squad because it is one artillery unit that just keeps throwing fire on as many tiles as it can, and then you have 2 other units that kind of go in, and if you play it right, you land on the fire tile, you get the extra boost, and then you're able to do even more damage and take out stuff. One of the other mechs in that squad is a tank unit, and it can shoot it has to shoot in 2 different directions, which is extremely powerful to be able to potentially kill 2 units in one hit. But there's also a layer of strategy. Yeah. Like, you have to position it right, because you could end up on a tile where, your first hit's going to hit something, but you also have to go in a different direction, and maybe you're hitting a city or hitting one of your own guys. So there's a lot of good strategy with the positioning of that. And then the last one is a brute unit, kind of like the more humanoid looking unit, and it has this kind of flamethrower thing that doesn't set fire to things. You can upgrade it to be able to do that, but it does damage and also does some push, and you can use that for other positioning stuff and also just do like a little chip damage. So I played through a whole 4-island game of that, had a really good time. There were a couple new things that I didn't understand in terms of like, hey, what's this new snail-looking enemy Vec do? And what he does is he does the scorpion thing where he says, "Get over here," and he pulls you in and he fucks you up. And I lost a pilot real quick, and I went, "Oh, fuck, whoops." Okay.
You know what I'm excited about, Chase?
Yeah, what's up?
Not to interrupt you, but like, I'm just so pumped because when this game came out, I appreciated it. It was cool. If I remember, it was. I think it was like near the bottom of my top 10.
Yeah, it was like,
I think it was like an 8.
The bottom half.
And I guess the best way I can say it is like, I have more of a refined palate these days. And over the last year, you and I have spent most Mondays playing games that we end up calling back to this one with. And we've even streamed it once just to like dust it off. But I had been like thinking it would be cool to like go back and give this like a proper shake, like work through it, play through it. And then this got announced. And I had been wanting this on an iPad for a while because I really like FTL there. And I just felt like this would be a good home for a game like that.
Sure.
But with the Steam Deck now, like it plays like a dream on there. And I am so pumped to be playing this game and to have an excuse to play it. And I can tell you that the little bits that I've put in with it, like my brain is just wired differently for these things now, and like the way I look at stuff. And honestly, like we talked a lot about fights borrowing some concepts from this, but fights has really taught me a lot about placement strategy and like going into things here. And this game's really, really good.
It's one of my favorite games of all time, and it's really nice to have an excuse to go back and play it kind of guilt-free.
It's a hell of an update for free. It's a massive update for free.
Yeah,
it's a lot of
huge.
stuff. It doesn't quite double the amount of squads from the original game, but it does add like a real big chunk, and all of them play very differently. So that the heat sinkers that I played with, they still use fire, but they kind of use it in a different way.
Yeah.
There are a couple squads that have all new mechanics. One of them I got is called like the bomber squad or bombatics or something like that. And they, I guess, have like a bunch of remote stuff where they're like throwing out little extra bomb guys who can run around the field as separate characters and do damage and explode on things. They sound really neat. There's another unit I opened up that's called the Cataclysms, and they are about just cracking the ground. There are some tiles in Into the Breach before where they would be cracked by environmental stuff, or you could crack the ice and then you could break through the ice. And this mech, or one of the mechs in this squad, cracks the ground, and I believe it just means that you can basically crack the ground and open up a big hole anywhere on any tile on
like,
any island.
Knock enemies down into it?
And then knock enemies down into it. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Because there's also the maps that had the seismic activity.
Yep.
Those are in, like, they've added that element into those maps, because I don't recall that being the case where like certain cracks would happen. I know that like you would lose pieces on it now, but I think from what you're explaining, they've kind of expanded upon that, and it sounds like they've integrated into one of the squads, which is really fucking cool.
It's always been a super smart game with all of those kinds of mechanics, and they have found ways of adding in even more mechanics that also feel very smart. I'm looking forward to unlocking the other units. I'm looking forward to actually going back to original squads that I've played with. My problem with Into the Breach is that when I play, I always play the 4-island victory. Like, that's what I'm going for, because that feels like what the game is. You should play all the islands before you do the end. That the game gives you the option that only after 2 islands you can go to the end and just try your hand at that. And you actually get the coins that you use to buy more squads by doing a 2-island victory or a 3-island victory, and then also having some very specific achievements that you can get with these different squads that will also give you coins. So like for the heat sinkers, one of the extra achievement things that you can go for is to boost up your units 8 times in a single battle.
Okay.
So that means spreading a lot of fire and then having your other units make sure they get on those tiles so they can take advantage of that boost so that you can reboost them up. It's so good.
Speaking of mechanics, I'll be brief on this one for y'all.
Yeah.
It plays fan-fucking-tastic on a phone. It's perfect on there. And
I bet so.
If you don't have means to any of these other things, or if you want to just play this on the go, this is a game that I think would work really well for like a bus ride or just chilling out. The touch controls make a hell of a lot of sense. You're not actively touching the screen like you would be for a shooter or anything that's twitchy like that. Like, you're able to look at your screen, make a decision, and tap and go from there. And it works out really well. I will give it
and if you do have a Netflix subscription, the game is free for you.
It's free.
Correct?
It's free. You just download it, and then you sign in with your account, and you pick like which profile you have on Netflix and go.
So yeah, if you're keeping if you're not one of the million people who left Netflix after Stranger Things season 4 ended, then you can go and play Into the Breach for free.
Or free.
For free, but it's Game Pass for free.
Yes, cool, man. So Chase,
so that's what I've been playing. I also downloaded Forza Horizon 5, which is a lot of gigs. It's
over 100.
It's like almost all of your internal Steam Deck storage just to get that one game.
Yep.
Which I'm very glad my 1 terabyte mini SD or micro SD card came in today to give me that extra storage now on the Steam Deck.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's nice. But I'm looking forward to playing Forza Horizon 5 and hopefully joining you guys this Friday for our stream when we do that then.
Cool. So Chase, you talked about Aperture Desk Job, you talked about Vampire Survivors, and then we gushed over that new Into the Breach Advanced
One
Edition.
more quick thing. So I've been playing the Advanced Edition on my Switch because that's where I spent probably most of my time. I also played the Steam version on my Mac and had a good time with it there, but I've put more time into the Switch version, so I wanted to go back and play more of that. And there is something interesting about going back and playing a Switch after you've been playing a Steam Deck for a couple days, where I just go, oh wow, this thing is light. This thing is small and nice. I also like the Steam Deck, but there is something about the form factor of the Switch, especially when you've been playing a thing like this, and now you're on a Switch, and you're like, oh, this is kind of nice. I kind of like that too. I think I'm going to be the kind of person who will regularly use both of these devices. I'm not going to be a total Bobby who goes, what is this trash, and throws the Switch away.
Hey, when the Switch gives me a reason to play it, I
think I'm going to be using both. But it was kind of nice. I think both devices have their uses, and they're both nice to hold. But the Steam Deck is a chonker for sure.
It is. It's a chonky boy.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, I got a hot game here, hot off the presses to talk to y'all about.
All right, lay it on me.
Dragon Quest Builders 2.
Never mind. I gotta
That's
go.
a video game.
All right, guys, I gotta head out.
I think this is a pretty neat video game, and
it is neat.
Here's the problem, Bobby. I know it's a neat video game. I played Dragon Quest Builders 1 and I liked it, but I had some problems with it, and I know they fixed those problems in Dragon Quest Builders 2. I can't do it. It's the Minecraft problem that if I play this, I'll never play another video game ever again, and I can't do it. I can't bring myself to do it, even though I know I'd love it. I would love it so hard.
It's really good. It does a great job at questing. So I'm very early into this, by the way. I just left what would be like the starter island, and I'm now on the main island doing some stuff there. And I really appreciate, like, I'm a big sucker when you have a known quantity and it gets branched off into something else and little bits. So like for me, the sound design and builders and like the little fanfare that happens that you would experience from Dragon Quest.
When you complete a building.
Yes.
And all the people in the village clap. Like,
yes.
Yay!
Yes.
It's like, so good.
It's so good. And how some of the items are incorporated here. So like killing one of the slimes gets you oil, and you can use that oil for stuff. Like I really like that in the video games, but it looks gorgeous. I've actually played this a little bit. So I'm playing this via Game Pass on PC, but I've been playing a lot of this on my Steam Deck with cloud streaming via Game Pass, and it's been awesome at home. Like it's
running okay.
It runs great, man. It's a really fun game to play that way. And
it doesn't seem like a very demanding game, performance-wise, graphics-wise.
No, but I can see myself very similar to you, like getting lost in it, because it does have a lot of that Minecraft build, collect, craft, do things.
It's got some BBE in it, for sure.
So the problem I had with the first game is that they had a mechanic where when you played the story mode, you would go in and they gave you a quest. It was to make a specific thing, and then a boss battle would happen. And once you completed that boss battle, it would open up a portal to the next realm or the next challenge, and it would completely destroy all your progress. It was a game where you did all the building, but you built for a very specific purpose, and then you threw it all away so you could do it all over again in this next area. And I thought that sucked, because I I don't think they communicated that all that well in the first game, in that
Sure.
first mission. So I said, okay, well, this is my home base. I'm going to build it up. I'm going to add all these flourishes to it. I'm going to really spend a lot of time making this cool because this is my space. And then I got to the end and I went, whoa, wait, oh, you're telling me all of this was kind of wasted and I have to now throw this all away. And then they did have like a completely open space where it was like, well, now you can go here. This is like a free space and you can build whatever you want. Like, well, that's great, but all that shit is still gone, and now you're telling me I have
Right.
to re-unlock all of the different tools and things to be able to do this on the free space, and that also doesn't matter because it's not actually playing the campaign story mode. And so just confirm for me, is the case that when you are doing these missions, you're not throwing away your progress like you did in one,
I mean, the
right?
first when I left the island, anything that was in my pockets. So basically, you take a boat ride to the next island. They're like, "Hey, this boat can't transport that." So like, if
Mm-hmm.
I had any materials, you couldn't bring them with you. But it
Okay.
was also a tutorial island. It felt like, and I'm only on that second spot, so I haven't moved stuff around far enough to get to that point to know.
Okay.
But
You have a companion in this one, right?
you got a couple of different ones that I've
Yeah.
encountered, which is really neat, and they all have different abilities. Like one of them is more of a brute, and you can craft like a spiked club that only they can use, and they can bust rocks with it, which is helpful, and they can really do some damage. And they're gonna automatically, like, if I'm going out and they see me hammering stone, they'll start to hammer the stone themselves, and like they're when they collect it, it goes into my inventory, and that's helpful because there was one where it's like you need to get a lot of stone, and I was like, oh shit, that's gonna take a second. But they were out there doing it with me, and it went pretty quick. It's a really cool
Nice.
game. I think that if you are a fan of Dragon Quest, you'll find a lot to appreciate here. If you've never played a Dragon Quest, maybe give it a shot. Again, it's on Game Pass, and I mean Minecraft's on there as well. That's a
Mhm.
fantastic video game, but this is
I mean,
really cool.
if you like Minecraft, but you want something that might be slightly more focused, or at least has like
For
a
sure.
different skin to it, where it feels like you're doing something different, I think this is a great game for that. And yeah, if I agree with you, if you're a Dragon Quest fan who's just looking to get a slightly different Dragon Quest experience, but still feel relatively authentically Dragon Quest, this does fit that niche for you.
Yeah, and I don't know when I'll get back to it. There's a bunch of stuff that came out yesterday on the 19th, and another game that came out on the 13th that I've been keeping an eye on. I checked out the demo for, and we've quick looked other things from the studio. A game called Undergrave came out, and this is from Wired Dream Studios. It came out on July 13th. You've probably heard us talk about games like Red Ronin. You've heard us talk about Raven's Hike. They have really hammered down a unique style, and they churn games out at a pace, and this one's really fucking cool. I think this might have the most polish out of any of their games yet that I've seen. So it is going to be a grid-based movement. You've got a dash, you've got a sword that you can throw, so like dash, throw, and then jump. You have an HP meter, and you have a stamina meter, and anytime that you move, all the enemies on the board move, and the board's going to be anywhere from like, I don't know, like a 6x6 grid that you're going to be on. So and you can, it's all one hit kill. For the enemies, you can take up to 8 hits yourself, and it's got some amazing mechanics that play into, to kill the enemies, you're going to throw your sword. And so when you go into that, you're going to see kind of that fire emblem, like here's all the tiles that your attack can go into, similar to Into the Breach as well. And this is what your sword can do, this is what your dash can do. If you deplete your energy or your action points, you can move around and rebuild that. Once you clear the board, portal opens up, you go to the next level. Very similar, like a Raven's Hike in that sense.
Is
It's
it?
really,
It's
what's
not
up?
rhythm based at all, is it?
Nope. So it
Okay.
might it might have, if it
Oh, sorry. I was
reminds
just,
me, if you played uh the Cadence of Hyrule with the
I was
rhythm
just
turned
gonna
off,
say, yeah, it looks like Crypt of the Necrodancer a little bit.
if you turn the rhythm part off, the movement's the exact same.
Yeah. Like this feels a little bit like a turn-based tactical super hot. in like, hey, here, like the enemies only move when you move.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess also Cadence does that. But there is something cool about this. It's more, fantasy than super hot guns and super slick looking stuff. But um, it does. I'm just going through the screenshots on Steam. Like this thing looks pretty cool. Like pixel based, but like pixel based where it still has a really unique style to it, and it does seem like something that I would really dig a lot.
Yeah. So a couple things to call out here. The game's $10, which great price, but also they've got something called the buy at the time of this recording, which is July 20th, the buy dash and slash duo, which Red Ronin was referred to us by the developer for Fights in Tight Spaces. That's how we got turned on to these guys. Red Ronin is really, really cool. You can get both these games right now on Steam for $10.54. So if you don't have those games yet, you can get two really cool games for the price of what Undergrave is.
Might as well throw in like the extra $2 to get another good game while you're buying Undergrave.
This one's neat. I've been playing this on the Steam Deck, and it's fantastic on there. Works great. I can't recommend this one enough. It's a really, really impressive outing from them. All right, let's talk about Stray. And I've been blown away, absolutely blown away by this game. And I was not really that hyped for it. I thought it looked cool. I'm not really a cat person. My wife's allergic to them. I've never gotten along with cats. I'm more of a dog person. But I thought the cyberpunk stuff looked cool, but I wasn't one of those, like, the internet loves cats. Everybody on the internet loves cats. And so this is already like starting in a very high tier. People were very obsessed with it because of that. And I have nothing against cats, but I did not have that immediate, like, oh shit, there's a game you get to play as a cat. Like, I've got to check that out. And I like Annapurna. I'm really into cyberpunk. And the more I was seeing this game, I'm like, that looks like it could be a fun thing. And not to mention, it's been kind of a drought this year with stuff. So I'm like, I got time to play something new. The price is right. I ended up upgrading my PlayStation membership because I'd heard there was some technical issues on the PC front. I was able to upgrade to the like extra version for $21 for the rest of the year, and that got me the game cheaper. That's than what I did as well. But I have just loved exploring this world. It is one of the absolute coolest cyberpunk post-apocalyptic worlds I've been in. And what I really think is impressive here is, by nature, like, you're a cat and you're walking, and your perspective is such a low point of view, and it's humorous. Like, just the whole, like all the nuances that cats do, from licking themselves to like rubbing up against shit, scratching, stretching, all that. It's goofy. And to give you like a button on your controller that lets you meow at like whenever you want to.
Pretty good.
It's good. What's wild here is they give you this experience in a world that's fucking awful, distraught, terrible. And so this juxtaposition of like being this cat that is in this environment where humanity no longer exists, but you get to be on a ground level, which in my opinion, I think that's what makes cyberpunk so interesting to me, is the griminess, the grittiness, like the hustle and bustle of what's going on in it. And I think being at that level, looking up through some of these buildings into neon lights, into these really fucking cool built robot things, like, it's such an interesting way of looking at it, where if I would have been another robot, if I would have been a human that somehow survived all this, now living amongst robots, it wouldn't matter. But the way that they've added a companion to your cat, and I don't want to spoil too much there, is really fucking cool. How they've managed inventory and how you are doing some of the old school adventure game stuff where, hey, grab one of these items and you might be able to use that over here that will unlock this, and now you have this item. And like, they're doing some really cool storytelling on those pieces. But the playfulness that comes from like just walking on shit, like knocking over cans, They
Yeah.
put stuff out there that like demands you to check it out. Like there's a spot where there's a basketball on a ledge. You can knock it off, and there happens to be like a basket or a can on the ground beneath it, and you can like land it in there. Little things that you can find joy in a world that looks pretty defeated. There seems to be an interesting story, and you're learning about it through. There's a memory system in it, so you're unlocking some memories for the person or thing that's with you. Um, it controls really well. The jumping around, the UI is fantastic, and again, just the overall vibe that they've created with the soundscape, the sound engineering, and the visuals is fan fucking tastic. It's so well done, and I don't know why. I can't tell you directly right now, but like the first hour or so, and even a little bit beyond, my brain kept telling me that you're playing some form of a play dead game. And I don't know why
Hmm.
I kept thinking that, but I felt like the way that you were experiencing the world around your character, because if I guess the innocence, because there's something innocent about the characters that you're playing at in Limbo and inside in a really fucked up area. And I kept thinking maybe being this cat in a really fucked up environment was giving me some strong play dead vibes on just like you're navigating through it. It's not side scrolling or anything like that. It's very three
But
dimensional.
you are always progressing, right? Like you're not. It's not open world. You're not going back to different places. You're kind of.
I mean, you go into an area and it kind of does this control thing where it uses some really cool font where it's like you're in the slums now, or you're on the rooftops. But I have not seen a way to like backtrack that has made me do that yet. Now, the area that I was in, so the slums is one of the first areas you go into in the game, and you have to find some items there, but you will be like that's a little sandbox that's completely open to you, and there's a lot of
Okay.
verticality in these levels that you're going to be going upwards and doing shit. There are some threats. You can die in this game, um, but there's a pretty generous like respawn. There's no combat that I've encountered from you. I don't know if that comes later, but
It seems to be all like
Yeah, it doesn't sound like
evading
it from the stuff I've seen.
trouble. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
it's
like
really
it sounds
good.
like it sounds like it's a lot about exploring, a little adventure gamey. There are some places where you can do some relatively simple puzzles,
Yep,
and then there are some kind of Metroid-esque escape sequences
yep.
where you're trying to get away from some stuff.
And just
You
being a
mentioned
cat.
you mentioned jumping around. This game doesn't have a dedicated jump button, right? Like it's more like
No,
contextual. You have to be in the right spot to jump and
yep,
for things.
yep.
Okay.
Uh, the meowing will interact with things differently, and a lot of the robot design is more like an old school monitor for their head.
Hmm.
And I've been taking a lot of pictures in the game because it's just gorgeous to look at. But there's a part where you knock over a can of paint from a pretty high level in front of a shop, and the owner comes out, and they're like on the ground cleaning it up. And when you walk by them and meow, they like get this really like snarky scowl on their face as they know that you did it. And it's like I just walked by, and like another part would
That's pretty
be,
good.
it's really good.
Like even though they're robots, they are. It's a little bit like Near Automata in that these are robots that are trying to be human.
I told
Yeah,
Johnny in a message that I felt like they were cosplaying humanity.
sure.
And so like they have shops, there's vendors, there's a really sweet grandma robot that you can go and like rub up against her legs while she's sitting down, and that's awesome. Like that's a very tender moment in her face. It's great. It goes from these moments of like holy shit that was kind of fucked to like this is a very sweet moment. And you are I've just found myself like walking around as a cat exploring shit, looking at like graffiti. um it's it's really surprised the hell out of me, I'll tell you that much. Like I was not ready to dig this game as much as I'm digging it.
So I haven't played it yet. I plan to, but I think that first thing you touched on is that I'm not necessarily a cat person either, but the idea of having a different perspective when you are platforming or looking at a space differently. It's similar to the things I like about Grounded,
Mm-hmm.
like Grounded, but the idea of you're recontextualizing things that if you're just walking around real life, or your idea of what some of these things are, some of these spaces look like, when you have that different form factor as a cat, you are now thinking about the way you navigate things
Yeah.
differently. That this bookshelf, that's not necessarily something you put books on anymore. Now that is like a ledge that you can climb on and move around. These pipes that would just be, it's on an outside of a building, yeah, whatever, they're pipes, but now these are navigable, and they're bridges from rooftop to rooftop. That stuff is really interesting to me, and it's something that I'm looking forward to when I check out that game.
Yeah, and so like I said, I'm playing this on PS5, and it does some really cool stuff that you'd want from the controller. Like you can hear stuff through the speaker. It does the adaptive triggers really well. There's some really great haptic stuff that happens when you're interacting with cans and shit like that. But yeah, I feel pretty strongly to say that we'll be talking about this game in a few months for sure.
Okay. Johnny, you also had it on your list for this week. Did you have anything to add or mention that we haven't
I'm
talked about?
only like 20 to 30 minutes into it. But I will agree with Bobby that like I wasn't super hyped for this, but it seems all right. Seems like something that I need to see through, which is from what I've heard, like 4 hours or something like that. So
Yeah, 4 or 5 hours. It's not very long
Yeah.
at all.
yeah.
Yep.
I'm also like him. I'm also a sucker for these types of worlds, and being able to explore it as a cat is pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to playing more of that.
What was the last Joseph Fares game? The one about the couple getting divorced, or
Oh,
Oh,
It Takes Two. It Takes
It
Two.
Takes
I
yeah.
think that game also has a similar feel of you're a tiny little doll going through these
These big, yeah.
human-sized spaces, then you have to navigate in a different way. Unravel had a thing like
Yeah.
that too. Didn't play all that good, but I liked the idea of, hey, you're this little yarn dude in a normal-sized world, and what do you do with that? How do you recontextualize the way, like a normal can of beans is way different when you're only a few inches tall.
Yeah, man.
Cool stuff.
I big thumbs up here. So I talked about Dragon Quest Builders 2. We talked about Undergrave, and we talked about Stray. Johnny, you've got a couple games here that I would love to hear your hot take on.
Yeah.
I would like to
So
hear your Hot Wheels on.
Ooh.
I will get to that first very quickly. I've been on a big strategy game bender these last few weeks. I've
Oh
been
yeah,
playing
what Fire Emblem have you been playing?
Symphony of War.
Oh,
He's
okay, that's a
playing
pretty good Fire
4X, not
Emblem.
SRPGs.
He just said strategy.
So yeah, lots of Northgard, lots of Crusader Kings, a little bit of Civ, and then I remembered a little game called Humankind that came out last August, I think.
Sega make that game?
Yeah, I think so. And it's a Game Pass game, and I remember I was kind of excited for it, and then it got kind of tepid reviews.
Yep.
And it turns out, from the bit that I played of it, I think that those were warranted, because I don't think this game is very good. Yeah,
Got an
Sega.
update recently.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know, the way. So normally in like a Civ, you pick your leader who is from a culture, and that is the culture that you're playing as through the whole game. This one is a little different in that you're picking a leader, but then you reach a certain point of progression, and then you pick your culture. And that threw me off a little bit. Also, maybe I just wasn't paying close enough attention, but I didn't know what I was supposed to do whenever I first started the game, because you have this little group of soldiers that you're moving around and exploring on the map, but I didn't see a way to, like, found a city or start building a new unit until eventually, like, I wandered around enough and I found a spot that I was able to found my city, and that's when I picked my culture. And it was about that point that I kind of was like, okay, I have much better strategy games strategy games that I know I love that I could be putting this time into, and I kind of pieced out of there. So,
can I ask you a question on that?
mm-hmm.
So over the last few weeks, you have been playing a lot of these games, which is awesome. I mean, we all have our thing, right? Chase loves anime. I like.
Is that my defining thing?
I love anime.
I mean, I like anime. I think if you were to box me into one particular thing, I would have probably gone for like strategy RPGs. But okay, sure.
What?
Sure.
Go on, Bobby. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, sure. What's your defining thing, Bobby?
You like strategy. You like strategy games with like.
Bobby likes smoking meat.
I love smoking meat.
I know you love smoking meat.
It's delicious.
It's not like your defining characteristic. It's just a thing you like.
I really like games that you can do automation in. Johnny has been playing a lot of these 4X strategy games. What I'm curious to know about is you've bounced off very quickly a handful of these, not quite your tempo. And my question to you is what makes you realize like I don't like this? Because you've done this with Dune, you've done this with now Humankind, you did this with
so with Dune, it wasn't that I didn't like it. I knew if I put a bunch of time into it now, I'd be less likely to go back to it once it's fully released, and it didn't feel as developed as I knew it would, which is understandable. It's early access, so yeah, it wasn't that I didn't like it; it's that I knew I would like it more if I waited. With Humankind, it didn't like. There's a feel to a really well thought out, well executed. There's a flow. And even a game like Crusader Kings, like I'm fumbling my way around a lot of the times because there's just so many layers and depths that you can plumb with that game.
This is a genre that has a pretty established, couple of giants to it. You've got your Civ, you've got your Crusader Kings, you've got a couple other ones that are generally thought of. But even the people who make those games, when they've tried to branch out and try to make other games in the genre that do different things, even they trip up because these are hard games. Yeah, they're hard games to make, and I think a lot of people have the same problem that Johnny does, where if you're playing one of these games that's like Civ, kind of just asking yourself, why aren't I
playing Civ? Because I put a criminally low amount of time into Civ 6. Considering also that was also just kind of me forcing myself not to fall into a Civ hole.
Sure. And until Civ really fucks up and people go, oh, you made a mistake. Like until they Sim City it, or people go, oh, I need something different now.
If you ask, a particular person, they would say that they do that every time a new Civ comes out. Sure. And the problem is those other games have years of DLC and expansions to play with. And the new game launches and where's such and such leader and where's this feature? And it's because, we've been working on this other game for 5 years after it launched.
I know that we dig them, but like nobody, there's been like City Skylines. There's been, I think,
I love City Skylines.
Terraforming Mars or Surviving Mars, I think is another one.
I haven't played that one.
But there's probably like a Venn diagram somewhere of like the type of games that I like. And then these strategy games where I feel like a SimCity is probably like somewhere in between those, because you are building out specifics on both of those.
Yeah.
Bobby wants to live in like the EVE Online land where he can, like the way that EVE Online is like, somebody could be playing the EVE, and then there was like the first person shooter EVE that they talked about that you could contract people to fight on your behalf as mercenaries in that. Yeah. Like Bobby is looking for that. He wants Johnny to like command all the city stuff, and then he wants to be in there engineering the different things.
Yes,
that sounds fun.
Yeah. Now I've had a minute to think about it. I think with Civ, it is that one more turn thing, and it's also like I know in 15 turns I'll unlock this technology, and this will give me this, and this. And once I have that, then I can have my builder do this. And then my scout is out here, and I've encountered this other culture. And with the Crusader Kings, I'm not like an RP person. Like when I played WoW and any other game that you could get into the head and like role play as a character. It's the first time I've ever felt that way in a game like this, because I am this leader and I have this council and I'm plotting and I'm figuring out like the best way to lead whatever kingdom or county or whatever it is I'm the leader of to build up my dynasty. And I get inside the mind of this person and I'm, okay, well, this son I'm gonna marry off to him because this princess because they have this many soldiers, and when I'm trying to take over this area, I need to call in those allies because the people like my neighbor actually has a stronger army than I do. But if I marry into this family, or I can have a murder scheme so that this guy has allies that are way more stronger than me. But if I kill him and his son takes over, all those allies are gone, which lets me swoop in and take his land. And Humankind, I don't know, like maybe I should give it a fair shake.
I'm sure it also has emergent gameplay storytelling capabilities that you can get similar kinds of things out of it. I guess what I want to know is what is Humankind trying to say is their selling point? Like what are they saying is
changing it's like you're changing the trajectory of history. I think like you're taking these events so you can be this culture who also happens to build like the pyramids or something like you're able to take.
Not have that.
I mean, each culture has its own unique. Like you have unique leaders and buildings and troops and things.
Okay. So, like Napoleon is never going to build the pyramids. Napoleon is always going to build the triumph or whatever.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. Like I didn't play a lot of it. It kind of instantly, not
you
instantly.
Knew. You knew.
I knew. I was like, okay, I don't think this is for me.
Yeah.
What was for me, and I think maybe had one of the best moments of the year, was the opening to that Hot Wheels DLC for Forza Horizon 5. So it's like any other opening to a Horizon game where you're driving a fast car and there's some fast bullshit that you're racing against. The catch here,
yelling at you over a radio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. The catch here is though you're driving on big old Hot Wheels tracks. It was awesome. Hundreds of feet in the sky, and you're hitting these like boost pads. You drive over them and they launch you a way faster speed. You're driving in actual loops, and it must use the same technology as what's in Mario Kart 8 because you're going like, fully vertical or totally upside down, and it does the like the flight thing in flight sims where it has the, I don't know what that's called,
the reticule.
The reticle, like it rotates to let you know how vertical or flipped over you are, which is a very nice touch, I think. And I've put maybe 3 hours into it at this point. And it starts you out, you do the opening big festival race that they do at the beginning of each game and at each expansion, and you're earning licenses to drive higher grades of vehicles. So when you first start, you can only drive up to B class, and then you get your A class license, and then that's what I have now, and then you get your S class. So it is a little frustrating because I wanted to get, I want to get my Lamborghini Gallardo or whatever and drive around these Hot Wheels tracks, but I had to drive some of my other vehicles. And there are certain events that they give you.
That's separate from Forza Horizon 5 itself. Like
yes.
You already are on like a building progression of getting the higher and higher cars, and now they're kind of telling you to do it again.
I mean, you still own those cars.
Just to unlock the ability to use them on these courses.
Yeah, because the races, you're racing against other B-class vehicles. And they're like, so far I've gotten 3 actual Hot Wheels cars.
Okay, that was going to be the next question.
Yeah, so there are like they give you one straight away that has the big old silver skull on the front of it. It looks pretty sweet. It's got the big exhaust pipes on it, and then they give you this like weird truck-looking thing with surfboards on it, and then I think I've unlocked 2 more since then.
One of the cool things about this too, Johnny, is that like this is the first time that I recall all this DLC being baked into Game Pass.
Is it?
It is.
Because I had another friend message me today saying that it wasn't. Are you sure you didn't buy the upgrade?
Yeah,
okay.
I didn't pay for Forza. It's all in Game Pass.
But did you buy? Because I didn't pay for the base game either. I bought the actual like deluxe upgrade, which came with both expansions. And
I'll go back and look because there's still like an expansion that I think I can buy.
Okay.
But because when I went to click on the DLC for this game to download it, it was like they had the included with Game Pass banner on it.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, that's great if it opens up to more people. And yeah, I've been having so much fun with it. There's different biomes that you drive through. So there's like a snowy area and a desert and a jungle. And
are these completely new maps from?
This is totally separate.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like that. Was it Skull Island or Treasure Island or something that was in 4, where it's a point you go to on the map, and then it takes you there. And it's
okay.
It has an actual ground area that you can drive in, and there have been some races where you're not driving just on the Hot Wheels track. You're actually going down to the ground, and then the course eventually takes you back up. And it's just so there's so many layers, and I've covered I feel like a fraction of there's like 178 new roads,
Hell yeah.
and 28 new areas I think, or something like that. Maybe not that many, but it's a lot. Like it is a sizable expansion. It's a lot of fun, and if you liked Horizon 5, this is absolutely worth checking out, worth your time.
Well, let me ask you this though. I feel like a lot of people are going, "Wow, I can't how perfect! I can't believe they made this happen." Like they've already made this happen. Forza Horizon 3 had a Hot Wheels DLC.
I didn't play it, so I can't
I get that.
I did. It's great. I imagine it's the same thing.
Here's the deal, Chase. I love you to death. You know that. How many Super Robot Wars have you played?
No, I'm not saying it's a bad idea to do it. It's a great idea. They should put Hot Wheels DLC in every one of these games. But it just feels weird to me, the reaction to people going like, "Oh yeah, they did it. They finally did it." It's like they didn't finally do it. They just did it again.
Well, for some people, like myself, this is the first time.
Okay, but it still doesn't mean that it didn't happen before. I applaud them for doing it. But is this going to be their new thing now? Is that every odd-numbered Forza Horizon game is going to have Hot Wheels and every even number is going to have Lego? Because that's what they did before. Is like, yeah, let's do our Lego pack. And it was like, yeah, absolutely you'd do your Lego pack. Why not?
I mean...
But it's weird.
I don't know. I would feel like maybe they would probably only do this again if they felt like they had something else to add, I would hope.
Here's the other weird thing about the timing, and also it leads to another question for me, is Hot Wheels made their own game. Like, since Forza Horizon 3 came out, Hot Wheels made a game that Johnny's played that is not as good as Forza, obviously.
It's pretty good.
But it's pretty good, you said. So why would they why would they do this again with Forza if they already made their own fucking video game?
They're just licensing their name. I don't think Hot Wheels actually made
No, yeah,
it's like a Hot Wheels
directly
game.
make it, but like this is the Hot Wheels game. So don't you feel like you're cannibalizing your own Hot Wheels game by putting
I don't know.
Hot
like
Wheels into the
that game is made by a small studio. You know, this is Forza, which is
it is, but it's Forza,
creme.
so nobody's gonna buy that other game because now they've got the Forza to play.
Maybe they play this DLC and they're like, "Are there any other Hot Wheels games out there that I can play?" And they see Hot Wheels Unleashed. I think that game's done all right.
Yeah, I heard it was fine. Like you said good things about it. Like maybe it was like a little hard, and a little
Yeah,
like
it's
unforgiving, but it has the Hot Wheels in it. It has the things that you'd want. It's great.
Yeah,
the
I
Jurassic
just
World
thought it was kind of weird.
expansion.
what?
Also, that one you're racing with actual Hot Wheels. It's like it's to scale. So you're driving actual Hot Wheels cars, and this is like real cars
Hot
that
Wheels
look.
cars that are like real cars. Yeah,
Mhm.
I get that. I get that. Yeah, I just think it's a little odd that again, it's great. I can't wait to play this game for first of all because I just got it on my Steam Deck and this is the first chance I get to play the game at all. But then also this DLC, it's great. I just think
Yeah,
it's a little bit weird.
I love it. I love the series. Um, 5 is so good.
It's really good.
Looking forward to spinning the wheel and
Yeah.
getting Forza bucks or whatever.
And this just makes me even more excited for whatever the next expansion is, which I think comes out later this year or maybe early next.
Yeah,
We'll
probably
talk
be
about it
like
here.
a rally island thing.
There you go.
More
Dude,
things they've done before, but Howard would be great and continue to be great.
if they made another snow expansion, I would love
Sure.
that because I love driving in snow in games.
That was the other one in 3, right?
It
4
was.
4 had the muddy rally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know we'll talk about it here in just a little bit for the credit section. We are going to get together Friday night for our Casual Friday stream, and we're going to be playing through the Hot Wheels DLC. So if you're watching this live, come back Friday. If you're listening to this Friday morning, come back Friday night to Twitch and watch us play this game together.
Yeah.
Shall we get into the news, Johnny?
Yeah.
Talk about some news.
So, Apple Arcade.
Oh,
We
boy.
all know it. We all love it. Well,
Okay.
it's losing 15 games apparently, which I didn't realize. Has this happened before, Bobby? Do you know?
No,
They have lost individual games before, but they haven't lost this many at a time, and they haven't felt the need to announce that that games are going to leave the service.
So there's a lot of information coming from some of the developers that were under contract with this, which I find pretty interesting. And some of these were like a 3-year contract. I think some were maybe 1-year, 2-year contracts, if that. But this is also interesting to see like the Monument Valley stuff hitting Steam when it did. Not that they were under contract, but I know there's like a Monument Valley Plus that was on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All that to be said, the games are now just available for them to resubmit to the App Store. So they're not gone forever. Like,
yes, the next day or the same day, right?
They could be if the developers decide not to put up a normal Apple Arcade, or not Apple Arcade, a normal App Store version. Then yeah, those games are still gone. I guess they're still on. If you have them already downloaded to your phone, you still have them, right? Or do they just actually go away?
It might tell you can't launch it or something.
Yeah, I think there's an issue where they're no longer playable on the Apple Arcade service. You would have to have them. And there's been a few things, like we'll call out one of Chase's favorite games, Monster Hunter Stories. That first one came to mobile. They brought a version over to Apple Arcade where you can download that game on mobile. But it's just fascinating because I know Game Pass has like a rotation that happens, and we've kind of talked about like the permanent stuff there, but this seems a little bit strange, especially like from a mobile perspective, that maybe there wouldn't be a need to stay. I don't know. It's just it's very interesting to see the digital shelf life kind of expire.
I mean, it's not something they, for obvious reasons, it's not something that Apple advertised when they announced Apple Arcade. It's like, we'll have a 3 years of exclusivity for these games before they leave our service and can do whatever they want. They're not going to say that.
Well, this just makes me wonder, like, when is Fantasia coming out?
That was going to be my question. I know Fantasia is not one of these 15 games I looked, because I was almost excited. But then I wasn't. But yeah, it is. Bobby was touching on it there. There is a digital shelf life to these things. Game Pass, Netflix, all these things have licenses. They have contracts. They do not own the other than Disney Plus, because they literally own all the goddamn shit that's on Disney Plus, because of course they do. It's Disney. Like, a lot of these places only get these things temporarily, and they can renew those contracts, and I imagine Apple is going to renew plenty of contracts to keep some of these games exclusive to their service. Fantasia might be one of those, because I know they contributed a lot of money to make that game in the first place.
That
So
was the thing I was going to ask, was like,
there.
these games, out of these 15, and I don't know for certain, but I didn't see any of them that I was aware that like Apple was helping out with. But a lot of the games that came to this, they were giving like a chunk of development change because they weren't going to have the same percentage of sales. Like, they were going to get kind of a flat rate approach to it.
And I'm sure Apple's doing calculations and algorithm stuff of how many people are playing these 15 games. Is it worth us renewing these contracts to keep them exclusive? Does it still feel like a boon to our service that people would come to play these games? Or is it better monetarily for us to say, we're probably okay without them, and if they want to go, then, if they want to load up microtransactions on their game and put it back on the App Store, they can, because not being on Apple Arcade, you don't have to follow those rules anymore. It's
interesting to me how little they have put into this service. And I say that,
like, I feel like there have been new Apple Arcade games.
Have they ever given a shit about video games?
They want you.
But Apple Arcade felt like the time that they were going to give a shit. Like, you built a whole service around games. Like, that felt like it. And when they first announced it, they did kind of come out swinging. Here's a bunch of games. Here's a bunch of here's a bunch of developers that who are making exclusive stuff for us, who are bringing versions of their games that don't have microtransactions, are going to be part of the service. Sounded great, and then they just kind of didn't do any curation.
No,
nothing.
It was going to be a problem
outside of the App Store itself, where they would pop up the same kind of things as any iTunes thing would. Of, hey, if you're already in the ecosystem, here's a couple games that people are playing. Here's what's been most downloaded or most popular. But outside of that ecosystem, they're not advertising on YouTube. They're not doing pre-roll ads or anything to say, here's the new thing on Apple Arcade. Dude, they're not talking to Polygon or something to say, this is our new slate of games, in the same way that Netflix puts out a thing saying these are new movies.
Fantasia had that, and then there was a drought where they had nothing new for a while, weeks. And then all of a sudden they showed back up and like, hey, by the way, here's a bunch of games from 2009 that used to be...
just a bunch of a plus version.
Yeah.
I love Alto's Odyssey, don't get me wrong, but when they say, hey, remember that Alto's Odyssey from 3 years ago, now there's an Alto's Odyssey Plus. Like, but I have that game. And like, yeah, but we added like half of a new feature to it, and also you have to replay the entire game again. And I'm like, no, why would I do that? I have Alto's Odyssey if I ever want to go back and play it.
It seems like a big miss, and I put this news story on here because it just feels like they were not upfront about, we're going to rotate content, where I feel like Game Pass has been pretty straightforward. Like, hey, these are games leaving Game Pass. Like, they let you know, like, that was kind of baked into it. It just sucks. Like, it sucks.
Speaking of sucking,
it sucks, but it also it's I feel like it's inevitable. I'm not. I guess I didn't realize that was the case with this. I did kind of think, oh, well, they just have these on their service forever, or maybe there's a amount of exclusivity they have, but then they're still going to stay on the service. Why wouldn't they? But when somebody says, yeah, they're taking them off, I went, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I guess that's a thing that would happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it great, but it does seem like a business decision to make that stuff happen.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Johnny. What's the next story?
Skate 4.
Damn.
Is no longer Skate 4. It is just Skate. Bobby added a nice social network reference here. Drop the 4. It's cleaner.
It is. It's good.
America's greatest hack writer, Aaron Sorkin. Sorry. So
You're not wrong.
they announced it will be free to play, supported by microtransactions. And it's just, I feel like anytime EA builds up any amount of goodwill with people who might want to play their games, they're just like, hey, fuck you.
And another finger on the monkey's paw curled.
Exactly.
I almost put it on here. Speaking of them, Johnny, this is news, but you can buy Anthem at GameStop for a penny. For a penny.
Hell yeah.
I had a friend of mine who paid $5 for Anthem. This is a person
he overpaid.
He does not. I told him that tonight. I was like, hey, by the way, you wasted $4.98.
Damn.
And yeah. Anyway, it's a bummer. I mean, we know EA. We know the type of company they are.
We do. But we don't know the game. It could turn out. It could turn out to be great, but still, hearing that it's being jam packed with microtransaction and is free to play, that is not what we meant when we said we wanted Skate 4.
Yeah, let me pay $60 or $70 or whatever it is, and just own the game.
Hey,
like if it's, but also like
Ollie World.
I fucking knew you were gonna say that.
Doesn't have a single fucking microtransaction
that's
in it.
Not Skate. Like that's not quite my tempo.
There you go.
I hope it's good. Because if the skating is good and they're just selling skins for your deck and t-shirts and all sorts of dumb shit, fine. Like if the game itself is like, hey, go play the game. By the way, there's a skate shop here. Yeah. If you want to accessorize.
That's not going to be the only thing that they do.
I mean, sure. It's like, oh, you want
Battle Pass,
buy some skill points.
There's going to be tricks. There's going to be new tracks. There's going to be plenty of things that they're going to transaction the fuck out.
Yeah, it could go in so many horrible directions. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens.
If you want that nollie kickflip 540, you're going to pony up 99 cents.
No, ugh.
I hope I'm wrong.
Me too. Warframe. That's a video game that is very popular.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, I played a teeny.
We threaten each other every once in a while, like every few months. Is like, hey, should we play Warframe? Like that. Hey, that's a free to play game done right. If Skate would never, could never.
I mean, I always look at them like that. You should check this out more. This could be cool.
It's cool.
Probably great.
I played it like 8 years ago, or however long it's been since the PS4 launched and that game came out. And it seemed okay. But they announced a new game at their convention. Was it TennoCon? Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I watched the teaser for this, and it's a new game called Soulframe, which it still sounds like years away. But it is a...
That's not the word I would change to make it into a fantasy game. Frame feels like the robot part.
Yeah, but it's got the soul in there, which people associate
Well, there is a robot. You have robot parts in this game.
In the fantasy one?
That's true. Yes. Yep. The guy had like a robot arm. And so...
Can it be fantasy if you're a robot?
Sure. Anything can be fantasy.
Tell it to George R. Martin.
Yeah, he has a fantasy that he's going to finish those books.
It looks really fucking cool.
It does. Yeah, focus on melee combat over shooting that you have in Warframe. And I'm interested. That trailer piqued my interest, that's for certain.
Yeah. Look neat.
What's the game I'm thinking of that feels what's it fucking called?
I don't know.
No. It's the it wasn't Gearbox, I guess. It was the game that came out. That's like a loot driven, like people were calling it like a Destiny killer, but it was like a fantasy looking game.
Yeah,
what was that fucking thing called?
like
Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
Godfall or Godfall.
Yes, Godfall. I think it is called Godfall. That's without having seen. I don't want to be disparaging to Soulframe. I have not looked at Soulframe, but the way it sounds a lot like Godfall. And if that game is anything like Godfall, holy shit!
It's like it looks more like a Ghost of Tsushima meets tech.
Okay, all right, that sounds better than Godfall.
It's got a vibe.
It's got a really cool vibe to it for sure.
Okay.
Watch the trailer. It's neat. It really is cool.
I will watch the trailer. I've pulled it up.
All right. Grounded, a game that I think we all think is pretty cool, is heading to the small screen with a TV series coming from one of the writers of the Star Wars Clone Wars animated series.
Yeah.
Called Honey, I Grounded the Kids.
Yeah, and if they mentioned this on I think the Next Lander podcast, but if they don't get Rick Moranis to do a cameo at least, they have failed.
Only Ryan Reynolds can get Rick Moranis to do anything these days.
Well, get him on the phone and then make it happen.
Like wasn't that Mint Mobile commercial he was in like the first thing he's done in
years,
20 years? Yeah,
he is. I love Rick Moranis.
Of course,
he's fantastic. He quit acting after his wife.
Spirit animal.
Yeah, he sadly passed away to like raise his kids, and his kids are grown now. And I think he was open to doing work. So please, Rick Moranis, be in the show. It is your destiny.
Speaking of Destiny,
I'll watch that. Yeah. Bungie is suing. Chase, do you want to take lead on this one? Chase is suing a toxic Destiny 2 player, accusing him of.
I promise, it's not me.
You're toxic for other reasons. You're not.
I'm very toxic, but not in these ways.
Yours is more of an inward toxicity.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's nothing but toxins in this body. I'll tell you what.
The toxicity of our city. Sorry. Accusing him of regularly breaking the terms of the game's license agreement and threatening the well-being of a Bungie staff member. The case sues for financial damage and urges for protective measures to be taken for the safety of Bungie employees. So
basically, this guy was harassing one of the Bungie community managers. His name DMG, and it sucks. He's giving death threats, doing lots of terrible shit. He's also streamed himself. Oh, go ahead, Bobby.
He said stuff like he is not safe. Keep doors locked. He was essentially saying like, I'm 20 miles away from where he's at now.
Yeah,
like
he threatened to burn down the building that Bungie's in. He
fucking
he's streamed regularly with showing off cheating software for Destiny 2. Like he's the shitty dude. And it looks like they're trying to stop that shit. So that's been something that's been going on in the Destiny community lately. Destiny's a weird, interesting game where I think Bungie is really open compared to a lot of developers on the way they make games, the way they continue this live service. They put out a weekly update for Destiny this week at Bungie, and it is a weekly conversation with the community. Here are things that we're doing. We took your feedback on these things. Here's our roadmap. Here's why we're doing the things. And it's all extremely interesting. And I wish more developers had the same dedication to showing off their stuff this way and talking through their process in the way that Bungie does. To be fair, there's still a lot that Bungie doesn't tell us. There's still a lot that they keep close to the chest. There's a lot of questions that just don't get answered, and that is also very frustrating. But for people to come out and try to blame Bungie in some of these things and start harassing them because they don't feel like they're getting the answers that they want. Because like an example is PvP in Destiny has been pretty
bad.
Not bad exactly. It's just been stagnant. It's been so stagnant for a while. It took until this last expansion to get a new multiplayer map. In fact, they took away multiplayer maps when they did their Destiny content vault. but they just would not add any new maps from like when the game first launched.
And they kind of forced people to play it too, right? With Iron Banner,
there's certainly stuff in there, yeah, and so recently they've added in a new map. They added in a new old Iron Banner that takes an old mode from Destiny 1 and kind of revamps it. But they've done a little bit. But the community for a long time was really grumbly about Bungie's not doing anything with PvP. They just keep adding in new raids and new stuff, and that's cool. But like that's you're leaving out this subsection of players, and I don't really care about PvP. But that is where some of that frustration comes from, and it just felt like Bungie was radio silent on this stuff, despite again having a weekly thing where they would talk about all the updates they're making and all the work they're doing. So on one hand, you hate to see something like this that might add a chilling effect to Bungie and make them less willing or interested to interact with the community if they have to deal with this shit on a regular basis, which the Destiny community is not always the best community. It has bad apples like every community, and probably even more bad apples than most, it seems. It just sucks. It just sucks.
Yeah.
But
does suck.
Hope this guy gets what he deserves, and I hope Bungie employees feel
safe,
comfortable and safe in their work environment, and keep bringing us a game that I like coming back to every once in a while. I played some Destiny 2 tonight to play the new Solstice event that's going on. I think it's okay. It's fine. It's very comfortable to go back into Destiny and just play it. What else you got for us?
Finally, last story here to round out the news. Wordle is now a board game because, of course, it is. Wordle, the party game, plays out the same as the digital version, with players trying to guess the secret word. For the physical edition, it becomes more social, with players taking turns writing down their guesses. This seems like the natural evolution, especially since they got bought by the Times.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably a move by the Times,
it
right?
Is. Yeah. It's a game that I think it even says like New York Times on it.
Yeah, it's not like the creator went and made this. Well, they can't make this board game. They own Wordle now, so it makes sense that they would build it into whatever
and capitalize as much as they can.
Sure, yeah. Sure. Have you guys played Wordle recently at all?
Nope.
Yeah, I lost my streak. I had a pretty good streak going, and then missed a day accidentally, and then it went back to zero.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened.
You know what? Fuck this. I don't do this. I had a good time with it while I was around. It was a fun handful of weeks of months, in fact.
Fun times.
Doing that.
Johnny, thank you for running through the news. Let's wrap up and get us out of here. We have had one hell of a week already, and it's only Wednesday. If you want to learn more about what we do on and off the show, you can do so by following these links in chat, or just following twitch.tv/casual hour if you're listening to it. Monday night, Chase and I got together and we checked out Last Call BBS, and we realized that we were not the smartest people playing Last Call BBS.
Well, we got there. It took a while. We were going in blind. We didn't know what we were getting into.
We had some great people stop by the show and help us out.
We really did.
Which was awesome.
Those people were awesome.
But
MVPs.
It's a neat game. It's on Game Pass. Check it out. We put up a quick look on Tuesday for one of my games of the year, which is called Symphony of War: The Niflheim Saga. Really cool.
I played the tutorial of that. I'm looking forward to getting back in and doing more and trying out all the squad stuff. But it's one of those. It's a Fire Emblem. They made a Fire Emblem.
Oh yeah. And then we talked a lot about the games that we've been playing tonight. Tomorrow, there's a quick look going up for a game called Necrosmith, which is a ton of fun. Check that out, 10 a.m. Central on youtube.com/casual hour. And then, as we have teased and talked about all night tonight, come back right here to Twitch on Friday to check out the casual crew and friend of the show, Jason, hop on those Hot Wheels track for some of the Forza Horizon 5 DLC. Chase, you have been hanging out playing things, right?
Kinda. Speaking of things that have gone a little stagnant. I mean, as you can see, I've got some boxes behind me. I'm working on moving, working on packing. It's going to take probably a couple months to get fully over to my new place. But it just means I haven't had a lot of time to make my other shows happen. One of those is Gamers on the Go. That's probably a couple months behind at the moment. But I'm looking forward to finally making another episode of that. I know we still got Playdate stuff. I think all the Playdate games of Season 1 are out now.
They are.
So
they're all out.
So we should, now that they're all out, maybe we should go and check those out and see what they're like. And then I also have a YouTube channel where I am currently off and on playing SteamWorld Heist, which is just a wonderful, beautiful game that I love very much and look forward to getting back to.
Hell yeah.
Check that out at JSP Plays.
Johnny, any updates from you?
No.
All right. That's going to be episode 282 for us. As we mentioned, hang out where you can, like, subscribe, tell somebody about us, tell us about the games you've been playing. We'll be back right here on Twitch Friday night. We hope that you play something new, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.